Today I want to focus the show on a really excellent promotion. They come out of Pennsylvania. It is the Keystone Championship Wrestling LLC, KCW, and from there is one half of the tag team called Bad Karma. He is the Madman, Kahreem. Welcome to the show today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Alan, Mike.
We're so happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. So I want to get right to it. Before we talk about anything else, you got a big show coming up on June 28th called Bodyslam'n and Cancer. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the big show that you guys are doing?
Bodyslam'n and Cancer, June 28th. It's a benefit/fundraiser show for Children's Hospital, basically to raise money for their continuous efforts in the cure for cancer.
And that's an awesome fundraiser to have, a great reason to have a show to raise money for a very good cause. And obviously, we're still a few months away, but obviously you guys are going to be out and around promoting like crazy. I know that you're on a couple more shows coming up. Definitely got to check that out, of course, at your website, KeystoneWrestlingLLC.com. So, first of all, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background with wrestling, how you got into it, what you've done so far? Did you start with the KCW, or did you start somewhere else?
Basically, a little background on me, old history. Started training back in 1996 with ECW's House of Hardcore, trained by Taz and Perry Saturn.
Oh, wow, okay.
Had my debut match on TV, jumped off the top rope and pretty much snapped my leg at that point. Took a little hiatus off. Actually, it was a pretty long hiatus. I disappeared for a while, and I started driving truck at that time, and I started getting signs while I was out there on the road that it was time to come back. Everywhere I went, I was followed by WWE. No matter what state, what town, wherever I was at, there was a WWE truck following me or parked next to me. And at that point, I said, you know what, it's time to go back. And I came back. Took a little bit to get back in the business because it was a lot has changed in that time period. I came back. I ran into a lot of old familiar faces. My tag partner, which was, again, he was an old familiar face, from back in the day, and we talked. We started training together, and we formed the tag team Bad Karma, and we've been traveling around ever since. North Carolina, West Virginia, Minnesota. We've been out in Hawaii. We've been traveling all over.
Man, that's great. And so obviously training with the likes of Taz, Perry Saturn, that must have been some amazing training that you had. How was it working with those two guys?
They ran that school like a dojo. They pushed you to the point of where you wanted to say, what am I doing? What did I get myself into? Why am I here? And, they had their reasons for doing so. And, I respect those guys a whole lot. And I first encountered Perry. It's been a while since, his incident, and he made his return back. And I found out that he was doing an autograph signing right around the corner from my house. And I decided to pop in and pay my respects to him. And that was one of the happiest moments of his life and mine, actually.
That's really cool. And I got to ask, I'm sure those two guys probably ran that, like you said, like a dojo. Probably, I'd love to know the size or the number of people who started out in the class. How many people actually got out of there at the end or dropped out before that the end actually came?
When I first started, there was 15 people in the class. I, of course, being the biggest one at 360, 370 pounds, Everybody else there looked like they were chiseled out of rock. Out of those 15 people, week by week, the first week it dropped down to 10. The second week it dropped down to 7. By the end of the third week, we were down to 4.
Wow.
So I pushed it through the whole time. And then they moved me up to the advanced class where I was training with Danny Doring, Roadkill, Chris Chetty, a couple other guys that was there at that time also.
And I missed what time frame now did you actually get into working with ECW after your time at the training?
I'd say within 6 months of my training, not even 6 months, about 4.5 months of my training, into my training is when I had just left the school. I got home. I called Taz and said, hey, my boots showed up. And at that same time, he said, good, you're on the show Saturday. And, of course, like I said, that was my debut televised match. And, yeah, I broke my leg. I did it right.
Yeah, they talk about an ECW debut. That's wild. Now, how was that? How was it wrestling in front of that crowd? Because, I mean, you know, you could wrestle. A lot of guys we've spoken to work the independents. I don't think any independent promotion out there today can even compare to the audience that you had or that environment that you had at the ECW arena or the audience that followed around wherever ECW went. How was it? What was that experience like being in front of that crowd?
It was an experience. Me being someone in high school who never liked standing in front of a crowd. I couldn't stand in front of my classmates and present nothing to them without shutting down.
I know that feeling.
At that point, you know, I got out there. It was almost that same feeling. You know, high school, you're in front of what, probably 30, 40 of your classmates. At ECW Arena, you're in front of, you know, 1,000, 2,000 people. Of course, at that time also I was a little starstruck, you know, and the fact that I was actually living out something that, you know, I on TV for years growing up as a kid, and I think that all, you know, hit me at once at that point.
That's amazing, and you know, the ECW days I think go down as some of the probably the most influential days of wrestling. Definitely shaped and reshaped the business of wrestling forever.
Yeah.
You were there. You saw it. Even for the time that you were there, you got to see that. What was it like in the backstage? You know, how was the vibe with the other guys that were there? I mean, did you guys know, or were you even aware of the difference ECW was making at that time, or were you guys just way too in it to even see it?
Well, at that time, you know, Perry and Taz basically kept me under their wing. They told me when I got back there to make sure I speak to everybody, shake their hands, and after that, to sit with them and pretty much keep to yourself. And I still go by that rule today. I'll go in, I'll speak to everybody, and I'll pretty much sit to myself. Me and my tag partner will pretty much just sit to ourselves in the corner. And that's basically what it was. It's basically what it was, you know, and I got to meet a lot of good friends, in which I'm still, you know, I've talked to, sorry, speaking of that, ECW Original New Jack is texting me at this moment. New Jack and, you know, Tommy Dreamer, Supernova, you know, a lot of those guys, which, you know, made me feel good when I started popping up at some of these shows and I see them and they still remember who I am, and, you know, it kind of brought back memories.
Oh, I can imagine, absolutely. And now, you know, fast forward to to KCW. So when you got back into the business, did you go right back into KCW, or was there some other stuff going on before that?
When I got back in, they started where I kind of left off with ECW. I started, running up and down the highways. Me and my tag partner traveling around, taking bookings and pretty much running with it. Doing TV for NWA, Mountain State out in West Virginia, up in Minnesota, AWF up there, out in Hawaii, TV out there. So, basically just been traveling around, and it got to a point where I'm sitting there thinking, what's going to happen when I get out of wrestling? I want to stay in it. At some point down the road, I want to stay in it, but I can't physically do it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to invest in my own company. And I, paid and brought what I had to do to get into the state, incorporate into the state of Pennsylvania, and purchase Keystone Championship Wrestling.
Oh, wow. Excellent. So I didn't realize that we're talking to the big cheese over at KCW.
So,
connecting the dots here.
Did that.
Very cool.
And like I said, I am physically a legit business incorporated into the state, and I have plans. I mean, I don't plan to grow as big as Vince McMahon, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to take this company as high as I can take it.
Well, absolutely, and you're in a good area. The New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania area is a pretty popular area for independents. Fans seem to love the more the merrier. So it's certainly a great place to grow and be able to stand out. I see that one of the main attractions you guys have for the Bodyslam'n and Cancer show is the Patriot. Now, is that the original Patriot from the WWE?
That's not the original. Well, he is. He did work for WWE as Sal Sincere and his two other gimmicks, the Patriot, and he also wrestled under Tom Brandi.
Gotcha.
So yeah, he's not the. I don't believe he's the original. No.
So now, and I see that you have a former WWE superstar also with a couple question marks. Any hints on are you guys going to be dropping that soon?
We'll drop it soon, but right now it's drawing a lot of attention, and I'm getting 50 million emails with several different names that they're throwing out at me, trying to guess who this person is.
Well, I think people probably start trying to figure out the shadow.
So right now we're going to keep that as a good teaser.
Very cool. Well, certainly something to keep everyone's eyes on. Again, that's KeystoneWrestlingLLC.com. Very cool. Now, do you guys have other regular shows that you guys want to promote? Obviously, this is a big show that you guys going on, but I know you guys have other shows that happen throughout the year. Do you have regular events every week, or how does that work with you guys?
Right now, I'm only able to do to put on, produce shows maybe once every 2.5 months. Eventually, I'm trying to work it to where I can get to the point of throwing a show once a month, and then eventually after that, maybe once every 2 weeks. So I got to crawl before I walk, obviously.
Absolutely, that makes sense.
And with my travels, with our travels and still current travels around the United States and other promotions, it's almost like we're working for those promotions, but I'm also scouting. So we tend to bring, people from all over, not just in the local area where we throw shows, but there's talent. There's so much talent out there. We're going to try to utilize it all.
Well, that's a throwback to the old territory days where you would have amazing talent in some territories that maybe just didn't have the exposure. And then they move on to territories that are a little larger, and suddenly be like, wow, where did this guy come from? And you realize the talent that was found. I mean, listen, WWE picked people out of all these different promotions, so what you're doing is pretty much the fundamentals of building a promotion. So that's
right.
really great that you're doing that.
Yeah, and you know, emails still constantly come through every day from people from all over looking, you know, to get more exposure and looking for work. And, you know, they send us emails with their pictures and their video links and their resumes, and it's just so many to go through. You know, eventually we'll get through all of them, and we might use, I'm not going to say all of them, but a majority of them. But, yeah, I mean, as I said, there's just so much talent out there that needs the exposure, and they're not getting it properly. I mean, I stick to the old school ways, you know, of traveling up and down the highways. You know, you used to listen to the stories of Jim Cornette and Bobby Eaton's and all them traveling up and down the highway, town after town. We still do that.
That's amazing.
There's a lot of people, a lot of kids these days want to stay in one area, and we tell them you're going to get stale. People are going to get tired of seeing the same faces every time they come to a show. And, you know, I don't want that.
And
of course
and
we're
on
going to
top
have
of that, to be able to bounce around to different areas where new faces see you, you're getting more people to talk about you. I mean, it makes sense what you're saying. It's what they did back in the day. You run your course, you get to the top, and then you move on to the next place, and you do it again, and you do it until enough people know you where you become, you know, one of the big guys of the independents, and maybe something bigger than that.
Right. And, I mean, case in point, we have 3 students, 4 coming this Thursday. We will be working on our 4th one, and you know, we plan to take them on the road to the various companies that we work for and still work for, get them some exposure in those companies, let them get a taste of what it feels like going on the road, wrestling with other people outside of the area. That also helps a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know, so they're going to get the ins and a lot more ins and outs from us, as opposed to some of these wrestling schools around.
Well, I like what you're doing. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the wrestling schools, and, you know, nothing against them. They do what they do, but you're doing something a little more unique, and that's what's going to make you special as a promotion is that a lot of these places, like you said, they stay with one area. It's the same crowd. It's probably the same, you know, 50 or 60 people every week or every month or whatever they're doing. And you don't grow. You get some experience, but you're not going to grow. What you're doing is definitely a true learning experience.
Yeah, and I mean, me and another co-owner of the company, we butt heads so many times when he tells me he wants to stay, I should stay in one area as opposed to moving around from different area to different area. I'm trying to grow a fan base. I don't want to stay in one area, keep throwing shows constantly over and over again. Again, I'm going to get stale in that area. I'm trying to build my fan base to where I'll have not just friends and family. I'll have actual wrestling fans. Now, granted, where I throw shows, case in point, this show is in Glen Olden, Pennsylvania. My next show might be 5-10 minutes away from Glen Olden, to where I'll draw that same crowd from Glen Olden to the next show, but also draw another group of people from that town and what have you. So I try to stay within the area where I throw shows just so I can draw the same crowds that I have, but also add more.
No, it makes
like I said,
sense.
we butt heads so many times on this to the point where I get slightly irritated, and I still continue to do what I do. He might not like it, but I still I'm going to continue to do what I do.
If it's working and you're seeing results, then at the end of the day, the proof will be what comes from your idea, which I think is a good idea, that you're slowly adding more and more fans while keeping the room getting filled, because you're not going too far away where people that previously enjoyed the shows can't make it. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It's a great plan. It's a good way to kind of expand out and build that audience, like you said. I think it's smart and unique.
On average, the 4 shows or 3 shows that I've thrown, first show, which kind of surprised me for my very first show throwing, we drew 200 people. So on average, we're drawing between 200 to 180 people.
That's amazing.
You know, one show was a little, was a little over 200, but not that far. But still, I mean, it's showing some kind of growth, and I'm still, I haven't had nothing less than, 100 people. So I feel I'm doing pretty good on that. I mean, I've seen shows, I've been to shows, I've even wrestled on shows where there's 20. We had a TV taping where there was only 6 people in the crowd. And I just sit back and I say, I'm honestly going to air this show on TV with 6 people in the crowd, but yet we still performed as if there was 100, 200 people in the crowd because it was TV purposes.
Of course, and plus you don't know who's in the audience. Word of mouth is so important, especially in professional wrestling, especially with independents. So you get even 6 people in there. Those 6 people might get you the next 100 people after that.
Right.
It's a good plan. Like I said, we've spoken to quite a few wrestlers and independents in the past. We've spoken to promoters. One of our friends is Jim Molyneux. Actually, I don't know if you ever worked with him. Obviously, one of the referees over at ECW now, he runs OTW Wrestling.
Yes, Jim, and who else is referee? Mike Keener.
Yeah.
Which he does. He refs. He has been reffing all of our shows that we throw. Plus, he's a good friend of mine. So yeah. He also puts his little insight in, too, as far as, where and what direction we should try to go.
Well, it's smart. You got people who know the business, and you're building to something bigger. And, me and my co-host have watched some of the videos on the website. The wrestling looks good. It's entertaining. So, at the end of the day, you guys are putting on a good show. And really, that's what matters above all else, that once you step in the ring, you're doing something that's going to entertain that crowd. And I can tell you that I see that. And the fans listening to the Al Mike Show should definitely go to KeystoneWrestlingLLC.com. And we're going to throw your website up on our website as well, just to make it that much easier for people to get over and check it out. And, of course, again, I want to help promote. You have a huge show coming up on June 28th, coming out of Glen Olden, Pennsylvania. It's the Bodyslam'n and Cancer. And, of course, one of the draws is you got a soon-to-be-announced former WWE superstar that's going to be part of that card. So I know I'm going to be checking back on the website to see what's going to be also.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I like that. It's a good teaser.
We're also working on the next show after this, which will be a slightly different curve for us. It will be a predominantly Mexican-based show. We have a owner of a bar who is Mexican, and he found out that I was a promoter, and as he stated, us Mexicans love our lucha libre. And he kind of questioned me and wanted us to throw a show there at his bar. It will be an outdoor show. He's pretty much tearing down the whole back end of his bar area, plowing it out, because he's actually trying to put a soccer field back there. But he wants us to throw a wrestling show over there. So that one is in the works. So stay tuned for that one also. There might be a lot of top Mexican talent coming in for that show.
Excellent. That sounds great. And, you know, obviously you're always welcome to come on our show and promote any future events. We'd love to talk to you and hear what's going on and keep in touch to see how you guys are making out. Clearly a wrestling promotion that's on the right start, that's growing, and has a lot of good stuff to happen in the future, and that's great. We're very happy that we can be part of it and help you guys promote this stuff. So I appreciate you coming on the show today. And of course, you know, like I said, anything that you need us to do to help promote, you just let me know. You know how to reach me, and we'd love to get the information out there to the On the Mic audience.
Yeah, and I thank you guys for having me on the show. You know, if any fans out there that already like the Keystone Wrestling, Keystone Championship Wrestling Facebook page, if you didn't like it, you know, and you have Facebook, go on there and like the page, stay up to date on the upcomings and goings-on with Keystone Wrestling. And obviously follow the website, KeystoneWrestlingLLC.com. Also follow us on Twitter at KCWLLC.
Sounds good. And like I said, we'll get all that information on our website as well. And again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the air today. Of course, one half of the tag team Bad Karma, the Man, Kahreem. I expect you'll be, you and your partner will be in action at Bodyslam'n for Cancer.
As always, doing what we do best, playing dirty and cheating behind the ref's back. What the ref don't see, there's nothing wrong.
Nice. I love it. I want to thank you so much for coming on the air today with us. And again, let me know anything we could do to help promote any other events going on in the future. You just let me know, and we'll get that information out there.
That will work with me. And I thank you guys, Alan, Mike, and have a good day.
Same to you, sir. Take care, and good luck with the show.
Thank you.
You got it. Take care, sir. And again, that
Bye.
was the Man Kahreem of the team Bad Karma, also one of the promoters of Keystone Championship Wrestling. Of course, just a great promotion. If you go to their website, once again, that website is KeystoneWrestlingLLC.com. They have a big show. I want to get all the information out there real quick. Again, this is Keystone Championship Wrestling LLC, Bodyslam'n Cancer, fundraiser for the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, CHOP. It's a great fundraiser and certainly one of the best hospitals out there. The event is coming at you Saturday, June 28, 2014, from Glen Olden, PA. It's going to be at the Derby Township School Gymnasium. That's at 801 West Ashland Avenue, and tickets are on sale now at KeystoneWrestlingLLC.com. They have a lot of great different offerings as far as ticket packages, so check it out. You'll see the Patriot, former WWE superstar. There'll be another former WWE superstar that's been unannounced at this time. That's going to be a surprise, so we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on that one.